Hey everyone, it's Shelby here. Welcome back to A Little Literary Love. I'm glad you are with me today because today I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite audiobooks. So if you are an audiobook listener, you like listening to audiobooks, or honestly, if you haven't really gotten into audiobooks before, I have this list for you of some of my favorites, more so recent favorites, but a lot of these are just in general like favorite audiobooks, of course, all romance books that I think you should check out and try out if you haven't listened to them before. And yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling because I tend to do that a lot. Y'all know me. This is what I do. But before we get into all of these books that I'm going to start talking about, I would like to just say that if you can, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. It definitely helps out me as a small YouTuber here on the YouTube. Also, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and like if you like my content, like this video. It helps me out. Appreciate it. Now we're going to get into all of the books that I'm about to talk about. So I have a list here of about 8 books that I will be talking about. Most of these are they're fun to listen to. Some of these I just really like the narrator and how they narrated the story. A lot of these are duet narration style, which I really like. I feel like that is honestly like the superb narration audiobook style, and I will always love those. Some of these I don't know, I really liked listening to them. So first book is going to be Priest by Sierra Simone. This is one of my all-time favorite books. I love Sierra Simone. I cannot give her enough praise. This one I definitely recommend listening to a lot of her books on audio. It just gives it just gives like an extra experience to her stories. So if you haven't read Priest or listened to Priest, this is a book about a man who is a priest, and he starts having feelings for one of his parishioners, and he has very lustful feelings towards her, but then he also has these very like deep emotional feelings towards this woman. So it's very taboo in nature because, like I said, he's a priest. He's dealing with a lot of emotional fallout from that and guilt and trying to figure out what he wants to do with these feelings. It's very hot and steamy. Sierra Simone is an erotic romance author, so all of her books are very, very high steam. She uses the steamy scenes to help further along the plot and the character growth in these stories. So this one is just one narrator that narrates this one, but is one of my favorite narrators to listen to, and I just feel like it gives you can just listening to it, you can hear the emotion in the narrator's voice as he is speaking the words that Sierra Simone has written. And it's just, it's so powerful. And there's just something about also like listening to dirty words being spoken that just, it's just, like I said, it's just a whole nother level to the smutty reading experience, if you will. So then I have Love and War by Shira Lynn. So this one is a pretty unique one. This is a historical romance that takes place during World War II. This is an interracial romance. So our female main character is Black, and she is living in Paris, and she is like a cocktail singer. And she's there when the Nazis end up coming and taking over France. And our male main character, he actually works for the Nazis. He was duped by his father somehow into having to work for the Nazis. He's a surgeon, and he's trying to do what he can to actually help people. So he comes across our female main character, and he wants to protect her. So he hires her as his like maid in his house to protect her, and then they end up falling in love and having a romance. So this one is really cool because this one has like a full cast of characters to it, a full narration cast. There's also sound effects that happen in this book. Like they really went all out for this book, and I applaud Sherilyn for doing that because I know that can also be pretty expensive to do. So it really felt like it was a very immersive experience listening to this audiobook, and I really enjoyed it. Then we're getting into several books that have the duet narration style. So duet narration is a little bit different from dual narration. If you're not aware, there is a difference between the two. So a dual narration story is like if you're reading a book and it has two different characters, like point of views, like you might be going back and forth between the different chapters. And so there's a narrator for each of those characters. And so dual narration, when it is on character A's chapter, they will be narrating all of that chapter, even if in certain points like character B is talking in character A's chapter, they will do the voices for both of those characters. And then vice versa, when we get to a character B chapter, the narrator for character B will be doing the voices for both of those when it's in that character's point of view. However, duet narration, you have like character A, character B, you have the two different narrators, but it doesn't matter which chapter that you're on. If you are in a chapter that is the POV of character A, the character B will come into that chapter and be speaking, the narrator for character B will come into that chapter and speaking for that character, or vice versa. So it gives it a better experience in my mind. Like it almost feels like I am just listening to these people talking and listening to the story. Whereas, I don't know, it feels, like I said, it gives that more of like an immersive type feel to it. And I just really enjoy it. It is also really cool because then if like both characters are speaking to each other, like character A and character B, like they say something together, then you're also going to hear those narrators say that together. And it's just, I love it. It's just very fun to listen to, especially when there's like banter going on and they're going back and forth. It's just, honestly, it's like watching a movie, but it's just, you're just listening to it. So I really like it. Anyway, so enough talking about what those are about. So first one, Does It Hurt by H.G. Carlton. This duet narration. This is a romantic suspense story. Our female main character, she steals his identity, and then he is able to track her down, and he wants revenge for this happening. So he takes her out on his like boat. He likes to study like sharks. So he takes her out on his boat, but then there's like this big storm that happens, and the two of them get shipwrecked on this island that has a lighthouse. There's a guy living on this island, and it's a very mysterious, they have to wait for a supply shipment to come, and they're just trying to figure out what's going on this island, but also trying to survive together. And it's like the hate to love, enemies to lovers kind of thing. It's a great story. Honestly, this is probably my favorite H.G. Carlton story. I like this one much better than the whole cat and mouse duet, but it does have that duet narration style, which I love. Another one that I definitely recommend is Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver, which I believe all of her books in the series are going to have that duet narration style for the audiobooks. So this one, if you haven't read it, is two serial killers, and they meet and they are aware of each other, and they kind of like are in awe of each other to a sense, and they decide to do this like game together. So every year there is somebody that gives them these clues, and they have to try to figure out these clues to find this person that they are supposed to kill, and whoever finds the person, kills that person first, wins the game. And they do it every year, and then of course they end up falling in love because it is still a romance. This is also a dark romantic comedy. There is a lot of comedy in there. There's a lot of dark stuff in there. So just be aware of that going into it. But it is a very fun experience listening to it on audiobook. And that is the way that I would definitely recommend going when reading this book. Same with Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. This, again, duet narration style. This is another dark romance, dark stalker romance. This is our female main character. She is a night ER nurse, and she's had trauma in her past, but then she also deals with a lot of trauma working in the ER. And to kind of cope with this, she likes to watch TikTok videos. One of her favorite types of TikTok videos is the masked man, like thirst trap TikTok videos. She comments, there's one that she loves that she comments on constantly, and that person just so happens to be like her hookup, this guy that she sees every once in a while that she hooks up with, his roommate. She does not know this, but then that guy, he ends up finding out who she is because he makes a comment about it, or the roommate makes a comment about it, that she likes these videos. So he decides, because he thinks that she's really attractive, he decides that he is going to make some of her fantasies play out. So he is going to stalk her, and he's going to break into her house, and he's wearing his mask, and they get into a lot of kinky what have you. So very much enjoyed that one. And then we have Feathers from the Sky by Jess Weisskopf. This is the first book of a duet. Second book is not out yet, so be aware of that. This one is a paranormal romance between a vampire and a vampire hunter, or at least she is the descendant of vampire hunters. Both of them have a lot of trauma in this book. There's definitely some mental health discussions in here. And our male main character, he is trying to get closer to her, and he has all these things in place to try to kind of like date her in a sort, because he believes that she had something to do with his missing brother. Either that she is the one that caused his brother to go missing, or she knows what happened to his brother. So he's trying to investigate that. And there's a lot of other stuff that happens in that book, but it's really great because it is, again, a duet narration. And then the other duet narration that I have to mention is the Queens and Monsters series by J.T. Geisinger. This is a 4-book series. The first book is Ruthless Creatures. This is a Mafia romance series. So the first book is our female main character. She is all alone. Her fiance disappeared 5 years ago on their wedding day. And now there is this tall, dark, and handsome stranger that moved in next door, and she keeps just like running into him everywhere, and they have this like very intense attraction towards one another, and they just keep kind of getting like pulled together. And then she kind of finds out slowly some of the secrets that he is hiding from her. Second book of this series is honestly it's Carnal Urges. It's one of my favorite books of all time. But that entire series is great to listen to. Like I said, it's a duet narration, and I love it. And then the last book that I have to recommend is not a duet narration, but I still really like it for like the narrators that is in this, is Rhapsody by Kenny Wright. This is a duet book. This is the first book of a duet. This is another mafia romance. Our female main character, she has lost her job, and so her aunt gives her a job at her, I think it's like a cocktail bar or something, but her aunt is like, don't talk to a lot of the people that work there, or that patron there, excuse me, because she serves a lot of like high class, shady people, above the law type people. So it's very like hush hush. But while she's working there, she attracts the attention of a man known as the Butcher. And she is warned that she needs to stay away from him, but she ends up like talking with him and like making a deal with him, and kind of things ensue from there. But what I like about this one is the Butcher character, our male main character of the story. He is from France, and so the narrator, I feel like, does a really good job like doing that French type of accent when speaking for that character's parts. And I really enjoyed it because the entire book was just, it felt so sensual And I think a good part of it has to do with listening to it and listening to this man speak. Like, he is so infatuated with the female main character. He thinks she is a goddess, that she is the most beautiful person he has ever seen. And he just needs her and he wants to be with her. And just the way that he speaks, like, nobody could resist this guy just because of how, like, infatuated he is, and just the how he is speaking. It just, I loved it. So there is a very quick rundown of some of my favorite audiobooks that I have recently listened to that I definitely recommend checking out for new and current audiobook listeners. So if you like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. I know I said that at the beginning of the video, but again, if you like it, let me know. And subscribe if you haven't already. And also comment down below with some of your favorite audiobooks, because I'm always on the hunt for finding new audiobooks to listen to, especially if you know of any more duet narration audiobooks, because I will always want to listen to those. Otherwise, that is going to be it for this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.